Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Welcome to the longest running podcast in the Madden Connected franchise community, SML Total Access. I am Primetime 000, joined by Matt and Dan. How are you doing, fellas?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Yeah, we're good. The best part about us, we don't need a patch to fix us.
Yeah, we're steady. We're like a Toyota Corolla, man. Let's go ahead. First down. Speaking of the patch, there was some debate on the patch. There's been mixed reactions. I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on the patch so far. Obviously, Madden had a game update this week. Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think we need to be careful of something first off, and I fall victim to this too. A patch drops, you play one game, and all of a sudden you've created this complete opinion on the entirety of the patch, right? I fall victim to that every single time, as we all do. I think we need to give it a little bit more time. My initial reaction, which is nothing more than that, is the pass rush has gone way down, and I'm gonna caveat that with, I don't think the pass rush was ever good. I think the O-line just sometimes didn't block, and a free rusher came through, and I think we thought the pass rush was good. It sounds like they fixed that, and now the pass rush is bad. And I've said this many, many times on this show and in commentary. You can fix Madden the same way you fix NFL football. If the pass rush is good, it hides all the other flaws. If the zones aren't perfect, well, it doesn't matter if they only have a couple seconds to throw the ball, like in real life. Man coverage, it doesn't need to cover all day if your pass rush is good. The quarterback just can't sit there and let all these crossing routes come free and et cetera. So I like where Madden went with fixing zones, and especially the hooks that drop way too far back, and that's how you get those guys that throw those instant drags over and over on you. Now I think they need to focus on the trenches, and if they can beef up the pass rush combined with the back end adjustments that they made, I think they might have a decent game on their hands. But if the pass rush never improves, this game's never going to improve.
Yeah, it's good, Matt. That's good. You know, every time a patch comes out, one of the things I do is try to search around the Madden community, online, Twitter, and all that stuff. See what the muttheads are saying. See what some of these content creators are saying. And pre-patch, even the first day, man, they were loving it. They were singing its praises. All the stuff Matt said, the hook zones were not. They wouldn't shade underneath. Even if you told them to shade underneath, they wouldn't. And so it was really frustrating. They fixed that. But probably within 24 hours, it changed pretty fast. The O-line blocking is just OP right now. Pursuit angles seem to have gotten worse. For some reason, we've seen a few clips of it. Guys just stop playing almost mid-play, like they think the computer told them that the tackle was made and it wasn't. And then you see safeties just stop in the middle of the field. So those are some potential groundbreaking things. And to Matt's point, if you don't get a pass rush, if you don't get right pursuit angles, we're going to be playing shootouts, and it's going to be whoever has the last ball is going to win. It's going to be 30, 40 games, and that's just not fun to me. That's not the kind of Madden I enjoy. So I'm a little disappointed right now because I had my hopes up high. I did think they increased the user and the computer interception, so that's at least a good thing as well. But if they don't fix this pass rush issue, and if they don't fix the other little glitches that are happening, we're trending in a bad direction. So I'm a little disappointed right now.
Yeah, I do believe that the game got worse with the patch. I also believe pass rush did get worse with the patch. Matt's point, true. I do agree that the instant is random sheds that were unexplainable because it was a missed assignment are no longer there. But also, I think you can look almost at a micro level at even the trench battle drill, where it seems like defenders with much lower finesse moves can no longer disengage from linemen. And I think that almost replicates in games too, which is causing more time to throw. And I'm not going to hammer down the points you guys have already discussed because those are all great points. But to me, I do think the game got worse. This isn't uncommon for EA for the games out for a month and a half, and they give a big reaction, or they cater to the Madden Ultimate Team crowd, and they do certain things for that. And then there's typically another patch or two that kind of cleans it back up and kind of dials it back to a good middle spot. What I don't want to have happen is people start beating the drum on this patch every time they lose and beating the drum on this patch every time something stupid happens. Because at the end of the day, we're going to be playing this game from August to August. And keep in mind, there's a lot of people here that were begging for us to start early or begging for us to advance early, even today, and it's like, hey, this is a game we have and we can do one or two things. We can either quit and retire, or we could say, hey, I'm the idiot that decided I'm going to play this game August to August in a highly competitive league that makes me play 3 to 4 games a week. And I'm just going to deal with it because my messages aren't going to do much. So it sucks. I don't think it's great. I think it'll get better because that's kind of the historical track record with EA with their patches. And it just kind of is what it is. But I do wish there was a little more pass rush, selfishly. Moving on. Storylines in the SML. AFC versus NFC, or excuse me. Do you have a storyline from the AFC or the NFC you guys want to talk about? Or if you have multiple storylines, you could shoot it out. Dan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go first, and I think I'm going to hit the most obvious one, and I think that's Soto right now in the NFC. Man, we had this guy after week 1 being in the Super Bowl, and then after week 4, we had him as a bum that couldn't play because he didn't have an omniscient. He goes ahead and trades Kyle Murray, and bang, he just starts winning and winning. I think he's won every game since, or maybe only dropped one. And so, I think it's great. I think the NFC, with Matt, with the Eagles is going to be tough. Obviously, Prime. I think Damon's gotten his footwork down, and Gutt is playing pretty well. So adding Soda into the mix, just again makes it more competitive, makes it more balanced, which is what I was hoping for. And although I'm not a big fan of like, hey, let's drop these big quarterbacks and pick up bums, I do think there is some things to certain quarterbacks don't fit guys' style, and some do. And so I think Soda is demonstrating that, and I'm excited to play him next advance. Now, I got Pauly today, and then I got Soda, and I'm excited to see what he's all about.
Yeah, I think mine. I have a couple here. My glaring one on the AFC is Grimm. This is a guy who had a really good cycle last cycle. Was in the Super Bowl the last season, and he's one that had omniscient. He's one that was in the weak NFC. He now comes over to the AFC with one of the better teams in the AFC, in the weakest division in the AFC, and he's only got 5 wins, and 4 of those wins are in that division, and I think the 5th one is not nice, and who only has 5 wins himself. So he doesn't have a signature win. I guess if there's good news for Grimm, the Bills had the most star dev or better players in the entire NFL. They have 29. So that team's going to be good for a really long time, especially with all the XP multipliers and boosts and whatever you got on coach abilities. That team should just fly to the top. That division's not that good. We know that. He's going to have a chance there. I know Tom's having a really good season, but his schedule hasn't exactly been lights out. I think he got a forced win against Meats when Baby came, and I would have loved to have seen that matchup. And then I think it's Dan. Dan is a big storyline. Dan versus Set Feet Lead. I think the AFC is a 3-team race. I think it's Dan, and I think it's Set Feet Lead Pauly and Set Feet Lead Straw. Can Dan, not having Set Feet Lead, beat those teams? We just saw Pauly go on and talk about how much fun he's having with Mahomes. Baby, you don't got to tell me twice. They were my most fun team to scrim with. Mahomes zips that ball in there. He's got the only 99 speed receiver in the game. Dan, Pauly here in an hour or so. That's going to be exciting. And then on the NFC, just to touch on Dan's point, Soda, I'm not sold yet. His schedule is extremely, extremely weak. I think his signature wins are Damon, and that was before Damon figured anything out. And then he beat KP, who is all over the place as well. So I'm excited to see him against Dan. That's going to be kind of a statement, game that kind of lets us figure out Soda. One thing I like about Soda, he knows what he wants, and he goes for it. He doesn't make these weird trades that these guys do that you're like, what's the vision there? Soda has a vision. He sticks to it. So he'll be solid for the cycle, but I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah, for me, I've got a couple. First off, right off the bat, it's Bomber. He was dead to rights, it felt like, 4 or 5 games into the season. And now he's about a game and a half out, probably, of the 7th seed. He's won 6 of his last 7. He he did pull a fig in his last game against, it went to overtime. I think it was the 49ers, was it? And he punted, and he put in chat, he's like, well, I lost or something. And then the guy fumbles because he doesn't fair catch the punt, and then he wins on a fumble. So Bomber's back, which is cool, good for the league. The other guy I want to just kind of give flowers to is ZBD. Didn't he start off like 0-5 or something? Now he's 7-6. He's a game and a half back out of the 7th seed in the NFC. He's got set feet lead. He's kind of found his rhythm passing. He's a guy who passes into windows, and that can be dangerous when you don't have the timing down and you don't know how the guys are going to animate. And I could see him kind of adjusting on the fly now and becoming a better player, which is cool to see because I played him in the AFC Championship game last cycle, and I thought he was one of the better passers I played all cycle. And I think the Chargers had set feet lead with Herbert. So him and set feet lead are a good duo there. And the final person I want to look at is KP. He's a game out of the AFC right now. He should have 2 ties on his record. The SML Colts have never had a tie, and now they almost have 2 in one season. He hasn't had a signature win yet. The best players he's faced is Raider fan. He lost by 3. He played Stavo, and he ties. That game should have been a loss because Stavo was kicking the game winner. KP goes against all things holy. The Dan School of Holy. Hey, they say one thing, and then when it actually comes, when the rubber meets the road, then they go for the block. That's all I've got to say there. Ties that game. Then he plays, should have been a loss. Plays Paulie, loses. Plays Dan, loses. He hasn't had a signature win yet. He's got Doink, who's 4-8. He's got Dan, week 18. Dan could be resting starters at this point. So I don't know how legit KP is. Some of his stats are great, but it feels like when he actually plays a really talented player, he hasn't done much. So I want to issue a challenge. It's a peace treaty. I love KP. He's a good man, but I want to see more for him. I want to see a really, really good win against a solid player. And maybe if he can make the playoffs, he can prove that. Speaking of, let's move on now to third down. At what point in a late game situation do you guys go into maybe this guy should just score? Should I let this guy score? I was watching a game it's been a week or two ago now, and it was Dan and Doink, and I'll reserve my comments for my turn, but I felt like there was some bad clock management there. Matt, what do you think? Do you let people score typically if it's late and you try to get the ball back, or what's your philosophy?
What's funny about this is I almost never think about this when I'm playing the game, but when I'm commentating games like SML games, I'm like, oh, we should have let him score. But when I play the game, I don't know, I'm like zoned out or focused on something else. But for the sake of the topic, I tend to want to let someone score where if I'm at a point where if I don't let them score, I feel like the game is over. So for a quick in-game example, I'm someone who doesn't block kicks. So if I'm up 2 with 1 minute left and I've only got 1 timeout. Okay. So a first down, game is over as long as they can make the kick. I'm letting them score because I would rather have the ball down. What would that be? Down 5 with my timeout and a minute left than just let them kick a field goal. So I'm letting them score there. Otherwise, that's really the only time. If I've got 3 timeouts in that situation, I'm not letting them score. I'm gonna make them work for it. I use my timeout. So I guess short answer, only if I think the game is over. If I don't.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think it goes beyond even end of game situations. I think you got to look at even like 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. I think fourth quarter game clock management is, again, I don't have any facts or numbers to back this up, but I think this is one of the big indication of win percentages across cycles is how well you understand how much time you got left and where you are and what you need to do. So are they in field goal range and 3 minutes left, you should start blitzing. Okay. Because you either want them to score a touchdown or you want to get the ball back. I think we saw this the other day in Figs versus Matt. Matt's up by 1. Matt has the ball inside, say, I think the 5 with like a minute and a half left, and Figs just kind of let him go. And Matt, I might have kicked a field goal, but only gave Fig a little bit of time, or he scored at the very end, a touchdown, and still had very little time. If he just would have let him score right off the bat on first down, he would have had more time and more timeouts with a chance to tie the game. So also, given that this Madden with the kickoffs and starting at the 35 and the way the clock runs with no huddle, you really have to understand time management. You need to understand what you can get off, what you can do, and you got to take it to your advantage. There are many times that people need to let others score and they don't do it.
Yeah, to your point, this Madden, I think, is going to be one of our highest scoring Maddens ever. Patch alone, you filter that patch out, people are starting close to the 40-yard line. I mean, 35-yard line at least with the touchbacks. You consider that to 8 years ago, and I mean, that's a 25-yard difference, or excuse me, 15-yard difference compared to the old school touchback. You factor in the fact of the no huddles and 2-minute drives, it's as the short of a runoff as it's ever been. Those two things alone will make a big difference in points, and clock management, I think, is more crucial than ever before. I watched a Dan versus Doink game. I felt that Doink could have let Dan score, and then he didn't, and then he lined up to kick a 70-yard field goal with a 95-leg kicker, and he was checking the wind when he could have checked it all game. And I just felt like that was a perfect example of, you got to be aware of all these things throughout the game. When you're kicking field goals, do you notice a 20-mile-an-hour wind as you kick off, as you kick a field goal? And you got to make mental notes. So when it comes time for it, that you're not trotting out your kicker for a 70-yard kick when he's got 95 leg strength and have any sort of hope that he's going to make it at all. When you think about clock management in Madden, when you have 7-minute quarters, every single game you could steal a possession or two. And that's how I've won a lot of my games, is stealing possessions. I played a game against Damon that I lost a couple days ago, and it was late, and I let up a good chunk pass. And I'm a big fan of letting up big chunk plays after onside kicks to condense the field, to make a tighter window in the red zone and allow less clock run off. And he got a first down late, or maybe it was a touchdown from 4th and 1, but I had played that exactly how I wanted to, and I gave myself a shot to win. So I'm a big fan of high risk blitz plays, let up chunk passes inside the 15-yard line so they can't run much clock. That's my favorite style of slowing guys down and preventing them to run clock, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and spread the love. Dan, who are you spreading it on?
Yeah, I want to spread my love on maybe someone that you think would be pretty easy for me to do it. That'd be Damon. But I saw that first half that he put on UPrime, which I'm trying to go back and I can't really remember a half of football that you just kind of got just demolished, and especially on defense. I've seen you have some bad halves where you throw some picks and you did some dumb things on offense, but to the point where at that moment you just look completely lost. And again, I get the patch and I get all the different things going on, but I think it was like 320 some yards, 4 touchdowns, all passing, all over the field. It was just impressive. And so I don't think he can sustain that. I don't think he'll be able to do that all the time. I think he'll adjust. You're a good player in that. But that was just a great first half of Madden football, and I want to give him all his flowers.
Let me ask you, did you have a cold sweat running down your head late when I started to come back?
No, not yet, because it's still not playoff, and I think you've got to learn these things. I think every time you do that, it's a good reminder. And if it was playoffs, I would, because he's got to get over that stigma right now of choking in playoffs. But I just knew you were going to come back. It was, I think 24 points at one point, and I'm like, well, you get one possession here, he gets the half. He's going to be back in this game. But yeah, it was a fun game to watch, and I again, for whatever the game is, fun games are fun to watch, and that was a fun game.
Yeah, it was a good game. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, Damon was actually mine, not because of that game, but just because he started out 2-5, said that this game sucks, which was only because he was losing. He hasn't said that in a while. Yep. But then he reels off 5 straight with some solid wins there. So Damon seems to have found his groove. But for the sake of being a little bit different, let's go down to Soda. Again, I know I just kind of took a shot at Soda because I don't think that 9-3 is convincing yet. But what I like about Soda, and I just said it earlier, is he has a vision of how his team should look, and he does everything based off that vision. How many times do you get a notification in trade updates and you're like, what the heck is that guy doing? Or they make a move and then their next move doesn't align with the first one. And you're like, what's the plan here? And the truth is there probably isn't one. I'm sure we can think of a couple of guys that have already made moves this cycle where you're like, what is your plan for the cycle? Because like you say, we play this game for a long time. Soda has one, for good or for worse. He's got a plan, and I like that. Also, lastly, Meats. Congratulations on baby Meats. That's fantastic. Glad everybody's doing okay. Big game against Straw next week. Look, Meats came out of the gate hot. He's cooled off a little bit. Yeah, he took a force loss, but he's got a big game against Straw. He's not going to win that division, but he's in the thick of the playoff hunt. Tied. He's the 5 seed, but if Paulie wins, then he's in a 3-way tie for the 7 seed. So Meats needs a little bit of a boost here at the end to get in the playoffs. I think Meats in the playoffs is not someone you want to face just because he's not afraid to use Lamar.
Yeah, I was going to actually spread my love to Meats. Congrats on the baby Meats. I looked back at my GroupMe messages to find out when our first messages were, and it made me remember back in 2017, I got a text message from a random number because back in the day, it was texting that a lot of people scheduled games and reached out to commissioners, and Meats got my number from some website, and he had put together some highlight tape with a Seven Nation Army background song of SML before he was in the league. And he's like, hey, I want to join. So I kicked some random guy. Meats, I think, joined as the Bengals at that point. September 26, 2017 was our first correspondence on GroupMe. And here we are, almost a decade later with him being in the league. He's always been consistent. He always does. He's had some of the best ideas that have changed our league. And a lot of times people think that, it's the top guy making these decisions. It's really not. SML evaluations idea, that came from Meats. That wasn't a Prime idea. SML team draft, the big production, that was a Meats idea. That was not a Prime idea. I did not have the ability to do that when we first started production quality wise. And I can still do the draft, but I can't do it as good as he can. There's a lot of things that Meats has done for the league with logos, with graphic creation, content creation. He is a brother to me. He's a great guy. I'm proud of him. I think he's going to be a great dad, and I'm excited for what the cycle is going to be for him.
Hey, Prime, don't get all sentimental on us here, man. That was probably some tears there, man. That was pretty good. That was a good eulogy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That was off the cuff there. Appreciate that. Some of my best work. Meats. Somebody tag Meats so he actually watches. Extra point time, Matt. What do you got?
Yeah, well, we're in the thick of things. Gosh, it's already week 14, isn't that crazy? Seems like just the other day we were complaining about the app and whether to push the team draft back. We still don't have the app. Tom, number 5, Tom, or as you guys know him, Trick. Look, boy, this was a painful one for me to put on. I almost went MMX or literally anybody else. But you are what your record says you are, and you can only play who's on your schedule, and Tom has beat 10 of the 13 people he's faced. And look, he's got the Jags, Saints, Pats, and Bills left. None of those teams have a winning record. I think the most wins on there is 5. This guy could end up 14-3 and be looking at maybe even the 1 seed in the AFC. He's the only person that's clinched his division. So Tom, you're at number 5, and I'm not convinced, but hey, anything can happen. At number 4, I've got Soda. We've kind of talked about him quite a bit. Man, that NFC West, whew, I didn't see that coming. That division is a little poopy. At number 3, I've got Prime. Look, I don't know what to think of Prime. I watch Prime sometimes, and you look lights out. I watch you other times, and I'm like, what's going on? Is it the same guy? Is it a new? What's going on here? I think the addition of Khalil Mack probably hasn't been exactly what you expected, but you get a guy like that not for week 11, not for week 12, not for week 15. You get him for the playoffs. So Prime will get it dialed in. I think getting that 1 seed will be really important, just because getting that bye. And I don't know if wear and tear is going to kick in here soon. I've heard it gets really troublesome late in the season, but I feel like we are late in the season, and I haven't really seen much. At number 2, I've got Dan. Hey, here's another guy who, man, if you were, it feels like just a few weeks ago we were looking at Dan's record and like, gosh, he's like 6-2, 7-2, and I feel like he could be like 4-4. His wins were ugly. I know all about ugly wins, but something has changed. Dan has really taken off. He's got some big games coming up here as soon as we sign off. Paulie, I think he said he has Soda next week, so big games for Dan. Luckily, there's nobody really breathing down his back. KP took a top 15 team in the Colts and is really playing like crap.
Yeah,
so he's got a little bit of breathing room there, so there's not too much pressure. But I think Dan wants to make statements, and I think he wants to learn a lot. And I think Paulie's his biggest competition other than Straw. And so I think he's going to learn a lot here in about a half hour. And then at number 1, it is Straw. Hey, a little pat on the back for me, and I'm going to shine the light on myself as much as I can. I came on this show and I said, I wish I wouldn't have said he would win a Super Bowl, but I did. I said if Straw gets the Bengals, he's going to win a Super Bowl this cycle. Obviously, at 11-2 and being number 1 on my top 5 is not winning the Super Bowl. But by all means, if you had to flip a coin and there's a team and a guy you don't want to play outside of Dan and Prime, it's got to be Straw, right? I mean, Set Feet Lead is back. It's not back to its glory days, but it's back. Jamar Chase is an absolute phenom. And then there's T. Higgins on the other side. And that defense, Straw is a feared man right now.
It's a good list. I think it's the right list. I think it's a good list.
Yeah, good list. I'll tell you this: Fearless has changed my entire offense. Outside of Step Feet Lead, it is the next best thing you can get for a quarterback. You definitely need Fearless as your ability.
Guys, there you have it. We are SML Total Access. That is Matt. That is Dan. I am Primetime 000. We are signing off on another episode. Next time will probably be playoff time. Thanks for listening.